Gunfire tore through the thick autumn air. Smoke rolled across the field like fog from another world. Men shouted, horses screamed, and through the haze, a man on a white horse rode straight into the fire. His name was Benedict Arnold. His leg was bleeding, his temper was blazing. He charged forward anyway, shouting, waving his sword, driving his soldiers to keep going. Every step he took changed the future of a nation, but in that moment he didn't know it. No one did. How did it come to this? One wounded man defying orders, gambling his life and the fate of America on a single desperate charge. To understand that, we have to go back to where the trouble began, the year 1777. The war for independence had been raging for 2 long years. The British were confident, powerful, and organized. They had a plan to crush the rebellion once and for all, to split the colonies in half and choke the fight out of them. The plan came from General John Burgoyne, a man who looked more like a theater actor than a soldier. He loved style, loved confidence. He even brought champagne and silver plates to the battlefield. He believed victory would come quickly. That summer of 1777, his army began marching down from Canada. Another group was supposed to move from the west, and General Howe would march up from New York City. They would meet in Albany, cutting New England off from the rest, like slicing off the head from the body. It sounded clever on paper, but wars aren't fought on paper. General Howe never showed up. Instead, he marched south to capture Philadelphia, chasing glory. That left Burgoyne alone, dragging thousands of men, cannons, and wagons through endless forests. Imagine trying to move an entire army through mud, trees, and swamps with no real roads, while being hunted by people who knew every hill and river better than you. That's what Burgoyne faced that summer. And those rebels? They weren't just sitting back. Farmers and hunters turned into soldiers overnight. They used hit-and-run attacks, ambushes, and traps. They cut down trees to block the British paths. They attacked supply wagons, then disappeared into the woods like ghosts. In August of 1777 at Bennington, a local hero named John Stark led his men in a surprise strike, capturing hundreds of British soldiers and wagons full of precious supplies. It was a blow Burgoyne couldn't afford. Every mile forward now felt heavier than the last. Meanwhile, the Americans were gathering. General Horatio Gates took charge, careful, quiet, and methodical. Beside him stood Benedict Arnold, bold, fiery, unpredictable. They were opposites. Gates preferred caution. Arnold preferred chaos. But both knew the future of the revolution rested on stopping Burgoyne. Their armies met near a small village called Saratoga in upstate New York. On a September morning in 1777, the stillness broke. British soldiers marched through open fields. From behind trees and fences, the Americans waited. Then, the first gunshot. The Battle of Freeman's Farm had begun. The air filled with smoke and thunder. Cannonballs smashed through the forest. The ground shook. The British fought hard, pushing forward with discipline and power. But the Americans hit back with wild, unpredictable force, firing from behind rocks and trees, moving like shadows. For hours, the land became chaos. Arnold rode back and forth, shouting, urging men to stand their ground. By sunset, both sides had lost many. But the British had lost more, far more, and though no one claimed victory that day, Burgoyne's dream of an easy win was gone. Weeks passed. Rain fell. Food ran low. The British were trapped, surrounded by swelling American forces. Hope was slipping away, but Burgoyne wasn't ready to surrender. He decided on one last push. One final, desperate gamble. It was October 7th, 1777. The second battle began at a place called Bemis Heights. The British charged again, trying to break free. Arnold, furious at being sidelined by Gates, could no longer sit in silence. He jumped onto his horse, ignored all orders, and rode straight into the storm. Bullets tore through the air. Cannon fire thundered. Arnold seemed unstoppable, a man possessed. He led attack after attack, shouting until his voice broke. And then, as he stormed one final enemy position, a musket ball ripped into his leg. He fell, but not before the British lines shattered. His men carried him away as he shouted, "Victory is ours." And this time, he was right. 10 days later, on October 17th, 1777, Burgoyne, out of food, surrounded, and exhausted, surrendered his entire army. More than 6,000 British soldiers laid down their arms. Word raced across the ocean. Europe couldn't believe it. The mighty British Empire, beaten by a group of farmers, tradesmen, and dreamers. It was more than a victory. It was proof that the impossible might just be possible. And it changed everything. Because of Saratoga, France finally decided to believe in the American cause. They sent money, weapons, ships, and soldiers, turning the rebellion into a world war. Without France, America might never have survived, and none of it would have happened without that victory. But there's one twist in this story, one that still stings. The man who led that fearless charge at Saratoga, who bled for victory, would later betray the very cause he helped save. Benedict Arnold, once the hero of Saratoga, would soon become its ghost. How could a man go from "victory is ours" to selling out his country? That's a story for another day, because at Saratoga, for one shining moment, he wasn't a traitor yet. He was the hero who turned the tide. And as the smoke cleared and the flags rose, no one could have known that this victory, the one that saved America, came from a man destined to break its heart.